What's going on, everybody? Stephanie told me I got 2 minutes in honor of the PGA. I negotiated with her. She was like, yo, you get 3 minutes. So I'm gonna talk real fast about somebody I love very much. The Milestone Award is for someone who has made historic contributions to the entertainment industry. And I'm here to give it to my good friend, Charles D. King. I'm gonna go fast. I met Charles in 2012, and I just got done with the Sundance Labs, and I was talking to a guy named Craig Castell, who was gonna be my agent, and he said, before you sign with me, I want you to meet my partner, Charles, because I want him to represent you with me. So I figured Charles was probably black, because Craig was white. I'm black. So I was perfectly okay with this, you know? And I read up on Charles a little bit. I had heard a little bit about him, and he was the first African-American agent to become partner at one of the major agencies back at William Morris. He had done all of these transformative deals for people like Tyler Perry and M. Night Shyamalan. So I had known quite a bit about him, and I read up real quick before I went into the meeting, and then I went to WME for the first time. It looks like Men in Black in there. I was overwhelmed. Went up to his office and sat down with him, and I was kind of looking at the pictures on his wall. I'm pretty sure it was like pictures with him with a sitting U.S. president at the time, and all of these really powerful people. But he was so calm and relaxed, and I shared with him what my film Fruitvale was about. It ended up becoming Fruitvale Station, and he shared with me a story of that happened to him when he was coming up in law school. And he shared with me that he had never shared that story with anybody else before in the industry. And we really bonded quite a bit. And he kind of gave me some game on how he would help me with my film and maybe other films that I'll be doing down the road. I mentioned to him I had this idea for a Rocky movie, and he was like, yo, I can talk to somebody about that, maybe help there. And by the end of the conversation, Charles, you remember this. I asked him, I looked at him, and I said, man, how much longer do you plan on being an agent? Because this dude felt like he was really going places. And he took a long pause and smiled, and he said, well, what makes you ask that? And I realized he didn't answer my question. So it probably meant not that much longer, you know? And I said, like, yo, I'm gonna sign with you, but you gotta make me a deal. If you switch jobs, you know, you'll still work with me, you know? And he said, yeah, maybe we can work something like that out. And a few years later, I got the call from Charles that he was launching his own studio, which would become Macro, which would be the first of. I feel like Stephanie gonna come get me, but I'm gonna hustle up. Macro is a multi-platform studio that centered the perspective of black people and people of color in this country and worldwide. And Charles was off to the races. To know him is to know that he's a rocket. Anything he has in his mind, he's gonna will into existence, much like all of the producers in here. You guys know that feeling. And Charles had done it as an agent for filmmakers like myself, and it was incredible watching him do that for a company and for stories and for other executives. It was incredible. And he also would push me to start my own company like him. I never thought I could do it. I was working on Panther 1 and in a deep depression trying to cut the movie. I thought it was terrible. And he came and said, hey man, it's a great time for you to start to make a company right now while you're depressed. And I was like, Jesus. But I took his advice and launched Proximity Media. And our first project was a script from a friend of mine called Judas and the Black Messiah. And as soon as I read the script, I called up Charles and I said, man, hey, let's make this together. And I got to work with him as a producer. We got to go to the studios with financing from his company, 3 black men and other folks walking in and saying, hey, can you guys partner with us to make this? We ended up making something incredible. And I got to see him work as a producer hands-on. We were in Cleveland, which is, no disrespect to nobody from Cleveland, beautiful city, beautiful people. Tough place for a winter to make a movie. And I got to tell you, man, I got to know Charles and his wife, Stacy, and Noah and Julian. This man loves you guys so much. You were all he talked about while he was out there on that film. You were all that was going through his mind. And I learned a lot from you, Charles. It means the world to have been your client as an agent, your client as a manager, your producing partner, and now your friend. If you don't know Charles, get to know him. He's amazing. And I cut together a little video that'll show some of the work of Charles King. It is my honor to present the Milestone Award to Mr. Charles D. King.
Thank you, Ryan. Thanks for your brotherhood. Thank you for your friendship. I just think about how busy you are, man. Thank you for you and Zenzi for actually making the trip and for coming here and presenting that, for those beautiful words. Really, thank you, Ryan. Couldn't be more proud. Couldn't be more proud of who you are. And I'm so excited and for the company that you, Zenzi, Sev, and your entire team are building. I can only imagine where Proximity is going to continue to go. Congratulations. My sincerest thanks to Susan Sprung, Stephanie Elaine, Donna DeLine, Michelle Bird, and the entire leadership of the PGA. Stephanie Elaine, by the way, one of my former clients and just such an amazing friend. I love everything about who you are and what this incredible organization is doing, so thank you, Stephanie. So upon learning that I would be receiving this Milestone Award from the PGA, frankly, I was a little shocked and surprised. I was without words, but I was filled with tremendous gratitude. It's truly an honor to be the first African American to receive this Milestone Award. And I stand on the shoulders of all the incredible producers, executives, my parents, and our ancestors who kicked down doors, made sacrifices, and blazed the trail for me to be able to do what I'm blessed to do. It was just over 9 years ago when I took the largest leap of faith in my life by leaving WME and launching Macro. And I have to tell you, we're just getting started. So as a media company founder and CEO, I've also now been blessed, as Ryan said, to roll up my sleeves and work as a producer alongside some of the most incredible filmmakers, producing partners, and colleagues. I've experienced firsthand the invaluable role that producers play in our industry, and I can't tell you, I have tremendous respect for every single one of the members of the PGA and our colleagues who are involved with the PGA and this organization. Can we please give them all a big hand? Every one of these projects and anything that we're doing, it truly takes a village. None of what Macro has been able to accomplish would have been impossible without some incredible people. I have to first shout out some of our amazing investors. I got to shout out my dear friends, Andre and Paula Williams, who have been there from day one. So I got to shout them out. I must also thank Emerson Collective and BlackRock. Without their support, none of what we've been able to finance and produce would have been possible. I have to thank out some of our partners and collaborators and partners like Netflix and Amazon, Warner Brothers, and so many others. Our lawyers, our publicists like Stacey R. Collins Jackson, brilliant black woman who's been right there from the very beginning. Thank you, Stacey. I'd also like to take a moment to thank some other incredible people. So some of my day one colleagues at Macro, Poppy Hanks and Greta Fuentes, who were literally there the day we launched Macro. Greta Fuentes walked out with me, Jerry Maguire style, and Poppy was there from day one. My partner in crime, James Lopez, who's president of our film studio. And some of my lifelong friends like Kim Roth, who was our first president of film, and so many others, and my chief of staff, Karen, who keeps me on path. But most importantly, I have to tell you, when we were pulling up into the parking garage for tonight's event, I have to thank my wife, Stacey Walker King, who's been my rock. And when we pulled up, we pointed to a building that's right here on Orange Drive, where we lived for 2 years before I became an agent at WME. I was an assistant, still we were talking about the dream of one day doing what we're doing. I think it was an idea that I pitched. I think it must have been our first date back in 1995, this vision of one day building a company. And to pull up here to tonight's event, knowing that I lived right there overseeing as these buildings were getting built right here at Hollywood and Highland, is truly surreal. And so I just got to thank my rock, Stacey King, who's our chief brand officer, and my wife, who's been there ever since 1995 and through the entire journey at Macro. And I got to thank my sons. Thank you, Ryan. I got to thank my sons, Noah and Julian, who are here with us tonight. We do, for everything that I do for my family and for our larger community. To God be the glory. Everyone have a beautiful night. Thank you, everyone. All right.